Oh God, that was really really hard watching. Connor, I think that is what they call Parky Ball. Well, if that's Parky Ball, I don't really want to any part of that going forward. Yeah, it wasn't the best Connor. And it's weird that we're agreeing because normally we are polar opposites. Well, now you mention it, there was some positives. Like, we kept a clean sheet. That was a big one. Defensively, we're still looking pretty strong, minus Tom Flanagan being an idiot. Defensively strong, maybe, but Charlton were absolutely anemic in attack. Yeah, I don't think our defence can really take that much credit. It wasn't a great game. Well, luckily for you, Connor, you don't have to watch the game next weekend because Sunderland are not playing. So, Sunderland draw 0-0 with Charlton Athletic. I would love to go through a rundown of the game, but not really. Anything of note happened. Now, in the first half, Danny Graham did miss one where he had an open net, which, God, he's got to put that one in. If you're a striker at this level, I know it's League One, but still, you got to put that one in where he slid across and he hit it over the bar. I don't know how he did it. And then there was one before that where Aidan O'Brien kind of fed him and he had a few shots blocked. I won't necessarily blame him for that one, but the second one where he's just got an open net, how are you, lad? It's not the Premier League now. I know you didn't score last time. You scored one, but I don't want to wait for one to hit off your arse again. The other chance in the first half, Bailey Wright had a great header saved by Benny Amos, and he just picked it out of the net, which was pretty good. So yeah, the first half we dominated. I think we played well. I think Parkinson would have been happy. I was certainly happy watching it. I thought it was strong. I thought that we dealt with Charlton pretty well. They looked weak. Anemic was the word I used at the start, but yeah, they were just really not that good. I thought we coped with them fine, and if there was anyone going to score, it was going to be us. To be honest, I think the game could have been played for another 4 weeks, and Charlton probably wouldn't have scored. But alas, we went into half time 0-0. Second half, it was worse from Sunderland, really. I think first half we looked much better than them, but second half we didn't really offer anything. And to be honest, Charlton didn't really offer anything. It was basically just a game of kind of hopeful kicks, lumps, passing, which wasn't great. It was just wasn't a great game. But there was one key moment in the second half. Tom Flanagan received a red card when Connor Washington kind of nicked in front of him and he brought him down. Says it all that Flanagan just didn't complain. Gets sent off, straight red. At least it added a bit of drama on the game, but even, I suppose, a testament to something is I never really felt worried that we'd concede with 10 men. I just didn't think we were going to score from that point. And it proved to be true. Charlton really, I can recall them having a couple of half chances. I don't know if Lee Burge actually made a save. And we sort of just went in there. It was what it was, full time 0-0. So I suppose we should just jump into the player ratings. This is probably going to be a shorter video just because there isn't really that much to talk about. But we'll start with Phil Parkinson. Last week I didn't give him a grade. This week though I will give him a grade because I've remembered. I say that Parkinson probably deserves a 7 today, and most people probably think that that's a stupid rating because we drew 0-0 in a game we probably should have won. But I think he set up the team in a positive way. I think his substitutions in the second half, while I probably wouldn't have brought off Aidan O'Brien for Charlie White, but I certainly would have brought on Will Grigg. I didn't necessarily disagree with them changes. I just thought that overall the game plan gave us a chance to win. We missed chances in the first half. On a different day we would have been 1 or 2 up at half time. So I think Phil Parkinson, as a manager, did all he could to get us 3 points today. And if you disagree with that, just comment below, because it would be nice to have a debate about that. I think Parkinson, I'm not disappointed with him this afternoon. I'm more disappointed with the fact that we didn't come out with a win in a game that we were so clearly the better side, certainly in the first half. So to the Sunderland side, Lee Burge, sort of struggled to think of what to give him because he didn't really have anything to do, but the little bits he did have to do, I didn't think he did very well. His distribution wasn't brilliant. There was one time where he kind of sliced a clearance out for a corner. I gave him a 6. You probably could have rated him lower, but ultimately he's kept another clean sheet, and as a goalkeeper you can't knock that. Tom Flanagan, he's next. I don't think he'll be surprised that he receives a lowly 2. I believe that's the lowest rating we've handed out here. I don't really know what you have to do to get a 1. I think probably get sent off and score an own goal maybe. But yeah, his passing was poor. You know what? He was having a stinker before he got sent off. His passing was really poor. He kept just hoofing the ball into the channels, which would just go nowhere. Sometimes you just kick them out of play. Sometimes you try these long balls that just went out for a throw 50 yards up the other side of the pitch. I just didn't really understand what Flanagan was trying to do and he occasionally has games like this where, I don't know, he thinks he's maybe Franz Beckenbauer in the morning and is yeah, do you know what? Today I'm just going to fire some balls around the place. I'm going to hit them 50-yard crossfield balls, and he just can't do it. He doesn't have it in his locker, which is frustrating because he's actually a decent enough defender. If he just literally defended and then passed the ball to like the nearest midfielder, he'd be okay. But yeah, today he had a stinker. Two's probably being kind. He was sent off stupidly, and that pretty much killed any chance we had of winning the game. Jordan Willis and Bailey Wright, I've kind of put them together because I don't think either of them did anything particularly wrong. Of course, we kept a clean sheet again. Gave them both a 6 this afternoon. You sort of look at them and yeah, I like them as players. I think they're very good players. I think every week you're going to get a solid performance. They're not really going to let you down defensively. And Willis is so quick that even if he makes a mistake, he can generally recover. So I like both of them. I thought they both played well enough today. In all honesty, I don't think they could have really got much higher unless Bailey Wright's in the first half went in. Just because we weren't tested defensively really for the whole game. Luke O'Nien, I've given him a 6 today as well. I thought he was okay. You know, he didn't do anything wrong. He didn't do particularly much right going forward. Defensively, though, he's always strong. He wins his headers. He did a little bit of... He got booked for time wasting, which is always nice to see that them shenanigans in League One. But yeah, a 6 today for Luke. Denver Hume, a player that I really like, but today he was not good. 4 out of 10. Nothing came off for him. His play was poor. His crossing was poor. Often when he had the ball, it felt like our attacks were breaking down, which is really strange for him because he's normally very good. He didn't particularly attack their fullbacks, which normally does. He just, a lot of the things that he does really well, he wasn't doing today, but you know, that happens. He's a League One fullback. They're not going to be consistently Petrice ever every week, and you know, that's life. But 4 out of 10 for him today. Josh Scowen, I thought he was better this week than what he was last week. I've given him a 6 today, largely because he did put a lot of good balls in the area, but obviously they didn't connect. His corners were good, and I think that that's an asset we need to use going forward. Probably could have got a 7 had he maybe just been a little bit more creative and a little bit more visible defensively. But overall, it was a good showing from him, and he's certainly given Max Power and George Dobson something to think about when it comes to the centre midfield going forward. My man of the match today is Grant Ledbetter. I thought he was brilliant. He won the ball so well. He was defensively strong. His passing was good. I don't think he let us down. I'm really, really growing to think that Ledbetter actually will be a very, very, very important player for us this season. I think he's probably going to be our most important centre midfielder. I think he played well today. 7 out of 10. Aidan O'Brien, I thought today was good for him. I thought he was, first half, he was very creative. He was making chances. I thought he was getting the ball down the channel quite well, and I thought it was a nuisance against Charlton. I've given him a 6 just because we didn't quite see that end product, but to be honest, as much as that was on the fact that, you know, when he did create chances, we didn't score them. But a 6 for him today, but that was a better show, and I'm no longer as nervous, maybe the word, but yeah, I'm not quite as nervous as I was about him. I thought his first few games, he wasn't the best, but I think today we saw glimpses of what he will offer going forward. Lyndon Gooch is a funny one, really, because I've given him a 5, largely because I just didn't really see him do anything all game. I can't remember him doing anything particularly bad, but I can't remember him doing anything particularly well. He's just, at the minute, it just feels like we're in one of them periods with Lyndon where he's just not firing. You know, he goes through them spells where he maybe has 10 games where he's brilliant and 10 games where he's not so brilliant. At the minute, we're in the spell of not so brilliant. I know he scored that goal the other week against Oxford, which was brilliant, but I thought today he was poor, and I think next week, if Maguire's fit, I suspect that Gooch would fall out of the team, and Jack Diamond's got to be asking what he has to do to get in, because that would probably be his spot on the side as well. So Gooch, not great today, 5 out of 10. Danny Graham, he was a hard one to rate, and I've given him a 6, and most people probably say a 6 is generous. And I understand that, but I actually thought today it was the first time we saw a striker play for Sunderland actually look like they were going to score. Often we lament our strikers because they just don't look like they're going to score. Whereas at least Graham today, yes, he missed an absolute sitter, but at least he got in there. Like, we've not seen that with our strikers, really, for since Josh Maja left. So, yeah, he needs to do better, but going forward, a player of his calibre at this level, he will score goals. If he gets in them positions, you know, I'd like to think he would score. I mean, it's not the Premier League anymore, Danny, you know. I think you should be able to get one past Charlton Athletic. So, he was unlucky. Well, unlucky is maybe too kind. He wasn't great, you know, with his finishing today, that was obvious, but he got in the area. So, I've given him a 6. That might be too kind, but it is what it is. My rating show. In terms of the substitutes, Will Grigg, Charlie White came on. I thought I'd give them both a 5 just because it was hard for them. You know, Flanagan got sent off, and at that point Will Grigg had to drop in midfield, and he actually did a pretty stellar job in there considering it's not his actual position. Charlie White, bit physical, gives away stupid fouls, just clumsy. Just every time I watch him, I'm just like, well, he's going to concede a foul here. Even if he wins a header in the box, which I don't know if I've seen him actually do for something, but if he did, he'd just give away a foul, because that's what he does. He just foul. So, yeah, wasn't as really that impressed with White. But Grigg, I thought Grigg did well, but I've given them both a 5 just because it probably wasn't really a situation where they could really dominate and sort of succeed. So, overall today, a 0-0 draw. You know, it's disappointing. I think most fans will come away from that one, A, thinking they've wasted £10, which is exactly what I'm thinking. B, you come away from it a bit deflated because it felt like they were there for the take, and I thought in the first half it was only going to be a matter of time before we scored. So it was a hard one, I think, to take for Sunderland fans, but ultimately 8 points from 4 games isn't too bad considering we played 3 sides that are likely to be there come the end of the season. I think, yes, the draw against Bristol Rovers, that was disappointing, but since then the 7 points we picked up against Oxford, Peterborough, and today against Charlton, they're not bad. I think most people would have taken that at the start of the season. So, yeah, 0-0.